Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, I'm Debbie Pixton with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing Tiffany Taulton, the Director of Community Initiatives at the Hazelwood Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me.
Tiffany, tell us about the Hazelwood Initiative and your role there. What do you do as the Director of Community Initiatives?
So the Hazelwood Initiative is a community development corporation located here in Hazelwood, and we have a focus on affordable housing. So our motto is development without displacement. The Hazelwood neighborhood is the site of one of the last steel plants that was located in the city of Pittsburgh. And when the LTV plant closed for the last time in 1998, the economy here suffered badly. A lot of people ended up leaving. We had a population of about 13,000 back in the late 50s and 60s, and now it's about 5,000. So we lost about 65% of our population. We also ended up losing our grocery stores, most of our stores. We lost all of our schools. And so it just became a very difficult place for people to live. But it's a great place. It's a beautiful community. We are located, we have the Hazelwood Greenway here. We are on the riverfront. We haven't seen the riverfront for years. That's where the mill was, but it's there and it's starting to come back to life. And Hazelwood Initiative really started about 21 years ago as a community group that was focused on remediating blight. So doing, cleanups in the neighborhood, removing trash. But since the development has started again, it's really moved into this community development corporation status about 5-6 years ago. And so we work on preserving affordable rental space and affordable homes, so both residential and commercial. And that means that we want to make sure that as this community develops or redevelops and money starts coming back, more people are investing in the community, that the people that have lived here all of this time are also benefiting from that, and that they get to stay, and that they won't be displaced by rising rental values or rising housing prices. And so that's what I do as the Director of Community Engagement, Community Initiatives. I focus on engagement, I focus on outreach, and I focus on grants. My job really is to make sure that people have the information that they need to become the people that they want to become. That they have the information they need to make the decisions about their lives. That they need to make in an informed way and hopefully get the results that they want to have. And that's what I do as Director of Community Initiatives. My job is really to communicate with the people that live here what developments are being proposed in the community so that they can have input on that. They can say, well, I'd like to see more housing built here, or I don't want to see more housing built in this location. I'd like to see more green space. I think this location needs to be cleaned up. I'd like to see more multi-bedroom houses rather than houses for single people or seniors. So just having those conversations with people and knowing what else they'd like, because it's not, when you're talking about community development, it's not just about the physical property. It's also about, do people have high school degrees? Do they have college degrees? What kind of jobs are open to them? If they're in high school, do they like the education that they're getting? Is it quality education? How can we make sure that people are getting the education that they want? It's public safety. Do people feel safe in the streets? Are they afraid of, drug deals happening? Are they afraid of burglaries or robberies? Do they have mental health issues that need to be dealt with? Is there health care available in the neighborhood? How available is it? Do people have transportation access to get to stores and to get to their healthcare appointments, to get to schools, to get to daycare? So it's a lot of things that are involved in community development, not just housing.
Tiffany, how did you end up as the Director of Community Initiatives? Can you tell us a bit about your career path?
So I went to Georgetown University, which is located in Washington, D.C., and I majored in foreign studies. So I had the intention to become a diplomat originally. So I studied French and Spanish and international relations, and I focused in Latin American history, and I did a high school exchange in Costa Rica and a college exchange in Costa Rica. So I spent years in Costa Rica. But at the end of the day, I realized I wanted the freedom to choose where I wanted to live. So I didn't become a diplomat. I ended up doing some teaching for a while. I was a hospital interpreter in college. I did that. And then I decided to teach. I was teaching ESL. So I moved back to New York. I got a job working at the United Nations because that's what you do when you speak 5 languages and you have a degree from Georgetown in international, in foreign policy and stuff. And it was a wonderful path. Working at the United Nations was great because you have this ability to work with people that want to change the world and to share that with people and invite people to be a part of that process. But when Hurricane Sandy hit, I realized that the process was too slow for my own liking. It's really hard to get 195 countries to agree to do something about climate change. And I wanted to do something faster. I felt that working at the local level would be the way to go. And so specifically, I wanted to work with low-income communities and communities of color, because when I went to meetings after Hurricane Sandy, to talk about how we were going to rebuild the city, I noticed I could be in a room of 300 people, but I could count the number of people that looked like me on one hand. And a lot of those conversations were about communities of color and low-income people and what would be done in their communities, but those people were not represented in those discussions. So I moved here in Pittsburgh because that's where I was born, that's where my family's from. I actually worked at McGee Hospital for 2 years as a doula. And then I also volunteered at the city of Pittsburgh, and I worked at I worked as a food policy intern for 3 semesters at the city of Pittsburgh planning department. I ended up getting a scholarship and I went to CMU. And as I was at CMU, I think one of the things that I learned is sometimes you just got to walk out on faith. And when multiple things conspire and give you information and tell you you should do this, to just go ahead and say yes, even though you're scared and you don't know how it's going to work out. This job in particular at Hazelwood Initiative was not on my radar, but I think the timing was just right, again, where they'd put this job position in a channel that's called the Black Environmental Collective. And it just said to me that if you are an organization that is aware enough of your community and the place that you operate, that you would advertise to a diverse crowd, not just the regular, Craigslist or Indeed, but you actually advertise specifically to a group of professionals of color, then you're serious about hiring a professional of color.
Can you talk about how the work of the Hazelwood Initiative intersects with healthcare?
Community development intersects deeply with healthcare because the place that a person lives, it's said a lot of times, if you tell someone their zip code, you'll know how long they're going to live. Unfortunately, in our society where there's a lot of inequity, where a person lives can shorten their lives by 20 to 30 years. And so when you work in community development, you are really looking to create a healthy community mentally, physically, spiritually. That's what you're looking at. And so from a mental health standpoint, you want a community where people feel safe. Physically, you're looking at, do people have access to healthy food, affordable food, culturally appropriate food? Looking at access to healthy food, how walkable is the community? If people can't get out and about safely, they're going to stay home or they're going to drive, which is not good for their physical health. We want people to be able to get out and walk. And in Hazelwood, we suffer from really bad sidewalks. So that can be in a neighborhood that is on average 10 years older than most other neighborhoods in the city of Pittsburgh. Our population is older. The houses that people live in are older as well. So if it's not a safe sidewalk for our senior citizens to get out and go about, if it's not a safe sidewalk, or we don't have any sidewalks for our people that are in wheelchairs, we don't have, walk signs that tell you when to walk for our community members that are blind, or flashing lights for those that are deaf, then it's not a safe place for them to go out. If we don't have good transportation, then they have to have a car. So that can limit, how often they go to get their food, how often they go to their doctor's appointments.
Tiffany, what questions should students ask themselves if they're interested in pursuing this kind of work as a career?
If you're interested in pursuing community development as a career, you can ask yourself if you like to work on small details or you like to work on big picture ideas. Because community development is really a big picture idea. You're looking for not changing just one thing, but you're looking at the system and you're looking at the process. Because as I was talking about before, community development really touches on a lot of areas of people's lives. You're looking at their physical safety, their physical health, their mental health, their spiritual health, the relationships between community members themselves, and whether or not they have a voice in the developments around them. So if you're the kind of person that gets bored doing the same thing every day, community development is a good job for you because every day is different. And if you're the kind of person that really likes to listen to people and likes to talk to people, then community development is a great job for you because you will have many opportunities to talk to people, even on days when you don't want to, because they will be reaching out to you. So if you really are that kind of person that likes to fix things, and you are, I would say, really like self-motivated person with lots of ideas all the time about how to fix things, community development is great because there are lots of problems that need to be fixed, and there are lots of people that will be very open to telling you their problems. So I think that that'll be a great job for you. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like to talk to a lot of people, then maybe not so much. At least don't do the community engagement part of it. Be the person that's making the maps in the office.
What's one piece of advice you would offer to students who are interested in pursuing this kind of work as a career?
I would say one piece of advice, besides, again, volunteering as much as you can and getting involved in a community volunteer group, would be to get a student subscription to the American Planning Association or student membership. Because if you read the magazine articles and watch some of the videos that they have, and now they have all of these conference calls too, you can really learn a lot about what the process is for doing community development. And it's way cheaper to do it when you're a student than when you're a professional. So you can really learn a lot just from going to those conferences. And also there's a planning podcast. So you can listen to podcasts by different planners. And just, when you're taking your walk outside every day, like listen to how they're solving community problems. And that'll give you a good idea if it's something that you're interested in, or at least something that you can help when you are an adult and you're part of the community and making those decisions.
Tiffany, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us today.
Thanks for having me.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!